Welcome back, investors. Hope you guys are all having a phenomenal day. So in this video, we're going to be talking about a crypto that is highly connected. So many of you have been asking on the research that I've been doing. This is going to be the first video of many on the research that I've done, and I'll probably go into detail about this certain coin and then many more to come. So I'll be citing all the research that I've done, and I'll put a lot of the links in the description below. But if you find these videos very helpful, go ahead and share it with people that are also in the crypto space who are trying to find the right coins. Now, before I get started, I want to mention that this is not financial advice. This is for educational and informational purposes only. If you want to use it for entertainment, go ahead. But I'm telling you that this is very powerful information if you know how to use it and you know how to invest, right? So let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to get started inside the crypto index. This is a accumulation of the entire crypto sphere, not just Bitcoin, not just Ethereum, but in general crypto. So I like to get a broad picture before I start to zoom in on the smaller coins, because as you know, Bitcoin is the top dog, but it isn't the only dog in the fight. So if we put it up against Ethereum and the other cryptocurrencies, it is actually just one of the smaller cogs in the whole crypto sphere. So I like to take a big picture look and see what the market is doing right now. We're looking at the 1 hour time frame on the CIX, the crypto index, and we're seeing some negative pressure come into the market. I think we've had about a 6 to 7% drop in the crypto market, or right around 7% now, as of now. So that's a pretty steep move towards the downside. But what we are also looking at is, if we zoom out, we're going to see this slide towards the downside. We had a capitulation. We had a rejection at this level where investors found that the crypto market was sufficiently undervalued, and they made a stance and they pushed it back up. So they had this had a rejection off the 143,000 price level. This was a change in character, right? So we've had this massive move towards the downside. We had a change in character. So this warranted a closer look at what is happening in the market. And now since then, we've been in this ranging consolidation level, right? So with the medium right here. Now, if we start to put price action and volume together, we're going to see a clear picture of what's happening right now. We had this massive amounts of volume come in and reject price off this level, and this became resistance. This became the support. Since then, the overall volume has been going down. But if we take a closer look, we're going to see that the negative volume has been increasing, right? And to most people, this would look like that's why the market is moving towards the downside. But I want you guys to take a moment and analyze this a little bit further. In hindsight, that's what most people think, right? But what in reality, what the market is telling us is that it's taking more and more negative volume to even push the market down to where it was at, right? So what we can see is that it's taking less and less buyers to keep it where it's at, right? So this is a bullish case for the crypto market, at least in the short term, right? And not in the bigger time frame. We have to make sure that we're reading volume and price action correctly. With that being said, let's jump into today's topic of the day, and that's going to be Oasis Labs. So there was so many connection in Oasis Labs, and I think that this is a very undervalued coin. I have been scooping it up in the last few days as the crypto market came down. So I wanted to share this with you guys as well. So Oasis Labs, let's take a look at Oasis Labs. We have the Oasis Labs team, which is Dao Song. She's the founder and CEO of Oasis Lab. And then we have Raymond Cheng. We're not going to be talking about Raymond Cheng today. We're just going to be talking about Dao Song and her team and the connections that I found within Oasis Labs, Oasis Network, and the Oasis Foundation. So just to sum it up, to give you guys a clearer picture, Oasis Labs created Oasis Networks, and the Oasis Foundation was created to push the Oasis agenda forward. So let's take a look at Dao Song, right? So the first thing that we're going to be, Dao Song has spent significant time researching and building security and privacy technology, specifically in the area of software, networking, and distributed systems, applied blockchain, smart contracts, and machine learning. She has been recognized for contributing in computer security through numerous prestigious awards, including, and they're going to name a bunch of awards that she's received. So she's a very smart individual. We're going to see a reoccurring theme throughout our research here from MIT and a few other schools. Now, another reoccurring in Oasis Network is the companies that are working with Oasis Network. And I'm a person that favors utility over hype coins. A lot of people get stuck in just these hype coins, and while there is some money to be made, very, very few people actually make a lot of money. And what happens is the few people that do make a lot of money, those get thrown to the front of the screen. And I like to take the longer way around this and secure my funds for the future, right? So I look for utility coins, and I just want to make that quick disclaimer. This is not going to be shilling hype coins or anything like that. So we're going to be looking at IBM, Google, and certain companies that have also been working with the Oasis Network. So let's take a further look. I am a part of Berkeley Artificial Intelligence Research. As we know, the AI space is projected to grow dramatically. So this is another thing that I'm paying attention to. Berkeley Deep Dive, Berkeley Center of Human Compatible AI, the Rise Labs, co-director of Initiative Cryptocurrencies and Contracts, the IC3. She's the co-director of IC3, and I'll get into IC3 a little bit later. But again, these are her awards that she's received. MIT is gonna come out many times throughout this video, right? So let's move on. All right, so the Oasis Network. We're gonna take an overview real quick of the Oasis Network before we get into the details of Oasis Network. And now the first thing that I'm gonna bring your attention to is Oasis Network investors. A few of them that you will see reoccurring throughout these videos that I make are gonna be Polychain Capital, Andreessen Horowitz with A16Z Crypto, and Pantera Capital. There's going to be a few other ones who are going to be a reoccurring theme. So as I continue the research, find these venture firms as a flag of what coins they're investing to, because these guys are not investing into hype coins. They're investing into utility coins, are going to play a vital role in the future. Follow the smart money. Follow the smart money. Don't get caught up with what's being shown on YouTube by YouTubers. First connection that I'm going to draw your attention to is going to be Armani. He's a software engineer at Alameda Research. That is a hedge fund as well. And he formerly worked as a software engineer at Oasis Labs. But I'm going to draw your attention to this, to Apple. There's going to be several connections through Oasis on Apple. And now Apple is someone that hasn't done anything in the crypto space. So I believe if they do anything with a certain crypto, that is gonna warrant a massive rally, right? So I'm drawing your attention to that. None of this is set in stone because it has not came out. I'm just drawing the connections and positioning myself before it does, right? So a software engineer for Oasis Labs, and he also used to do it for Confectual and Apple. Now we're gonna quickly shift gears into the Oasis Foundation and some of their team that I found interesting, right? It's the people that draw the connections here, guys. So Nicholas Pentino, he is a technical advisor for the Oasis Foundation. So this is someone that is pushing the Oasis Network in the direction that they're trying to go to, right? So we have Nicholas Pentino. Now, if you look in his Indeed profile, you're gonna find that he's also part of Apple. He's the deep learning lead at Apple. He's also a lecturer at MIT and Harvard. There's MIT coming back into the picture. So MIT, Apple are both someone that Oasis seem to share a connection. So I'm gonna draw your attention now to this article right here. Apple acquires artificial intelligence startup Percipitino. If you guys look at Percipitino, you're gonna find out that the CEO is actually Nicholas Pentino, right? So this is someone that just doesn't work at Apple, but also creates things that Apple acquires, right? So I found this article very, very interesting, and another connection to why I believe that Apple will eventually start working with the Oasis Network. So I'm going to draw your attention a little bit towards the downside over here. We're going to see that, you know, again, he went to MIT, He also studied at CERN. He works in machine learning, artificial intelligence, computer science. So as we know, that's something that Dao Song also really focuses on, is artificial intelligence, not just blockchain, but also artificial intelligence, security, and privacy, right? So if we go a little bit further down, we're going to see some awards that he's received from NVIDIA. We see DARPA, which is the US government. Yeah, so I find that very interesting. We're going to see DARPA actually come into the picture a few more times throughout my research. All right, so now we're going to shift over to Keystone. Keystone Enclave is something that Dasong has been working on and warrants a closer look for several reasons. So I went and downloaded their publication that they posted, and you're going to see Dao Song here and a few other people from UC Berkeley. Now, what is Keystone Enclave? Abstract, right? So this is what Keystone stands for: a trusted execution environment, TEs for short, sees rising use in devices from embedded sensors to cloud servers and encompasses a range of costs, power constraints, security threat models, choices. On the other hand, each of the current vendor-specific TEs makes a fixed set of trade-offs with little room for customization. We present Keystone, the first open source framework for building customized TEs. Keystone uses simple abstractions provided by the hardware, such as memory isolation and programmable layers underneath untrusted components. Just to summarize that, guys, is basically TEs are very inefficient at the moment. They created Keystone to make it more efficient, and Keystone is really the first jab at this, at making it more customized for mass production, for software, from software to cloud servers and all that stuff. Now we're going to draw our attention to all major CPU vendors have rolled out TEs. ARM, TrustZone, Intel SGX, AMD SEV provided a secure execution environment commonly referred to as an enclave. The first thing is that AMD, Intel, ARM, they are about 90% of chips being created out there. So that's a huge market to be aware of, right? Now I'm gonna draw your attention to the next part of this, guys, where I found it really interesting. The people that sponsored this material is not based upon work supported by National Science Foundation under whatever that grant is. DARPA. Here's DARPA coming back into the picture. Partially funded by Rise Labs, which she's a part of. Sponsors such as Amazon Web Services, Adapt Labs, initial sponsors, and affiliates Intel, HP, FutureWay, NVIDIA, SK, Hynix. Now, I'm starting to wonder what Rise Lab is. We've seen Rise Labs multiple times in her bio and all this stuff. So let's jump over to Rise Labs. And if we go to their current funding sponsors, you're going to see Amazon Web Servers funded that research, Ant Group, which is China, VM firmware we're going to see a ton of times throughout these videos, Intel, Google, FutureWay, which we just saw, and then Meta, right? Microsoft as well. So you're seeing a majority of Rise Labs sponsors big tech companies. So just something to be paying attention to. Now, the next person that I'm going to draw your attention to is a Miss Edith Yoon, right? There's a big lie out there that there's a separation between the US and China. Now, this might seem like a shock to you or something like that, but as I did more research and as you guys continue to do your research, is that China and the US are very interconnected, as you guys can see through the supply and demand, right? We're the demand, they're the supply. So Edith Young plays a vital role in that. Edith is a venture capitalist, technology executive, and a China internet expert. She is also the author and creator of the China Internet Report, an annual report on China technology trends widely popular among investors and corporate executives on silicon.new, weekly briefs at Silicon Valley Funding, a merger and acquisition news, right? So she is very very interconnected with China. As you guys know, nothing really succeeds without the government being involved. So let's jump down to this paragraph down here. She has invested in over 50 blockchains, mobile AI startups, including Lightyear, Stellar, Oasis Labs, Nebula, The Republic, Solana, Libra, which is Meta. We saw Meta in here a few times already. Hooked, Day-to-Day Cook, AI Sense, Meta, Medium, Castbox, Silk Labs, which was acquired by Apple. So Apple now connected with China. A lot of their chips actually come from China, but we have Apple coming back into the picture with someone that has worked with Oasis Labs again. Chirp acquired by Apple. So this person plays a vital role, I think, and we'll see as I do more research into her, between Apple and Oasis Labs. So Flesky acquired by Pinterest, Human acquired by Mapbox, and many more. So before 500, Edith was a general manager at Dolphin Browser, Sequoia-backed mobile browser, and over 150 million installs worldwide. Edith was also worked with many Fortune 500 companies such as Cyabel, I don't know if I'm saying that right, AMS, AT&T Wireless, and Autodesk, right? So she is someone that is warranted a closer look, and I'll be keeping tabs on her, and I'll give you guys updates as they come out. Now, another person that I want to bring your attention to is called Joanne Marie Brennan. Joanne Marie is president at Digital ID and Authentication Council of Canada, so the DIACC. That's a mouthful. But they don't have three-letter words. They have 5 apparently. Building on 15 years of experience in identifying access management, innovation, adoption, and industry standard development, Joni helps the DIACC to fulfill its vision, deliver the resources needed to establish a digital identity ecosystem that accelerates the digital economy, grows Canada's GDP, and benefits all Canadians. Joni builds diplomatic and impactful relationships and familiarization strategic partnerships. She has participated in influential committees from organizations including SEC Data Governance Initiative, OECD, ITAC, ISOC, IEE, and if you guys remember, where did we see the IEE? Right, so IEE and Oasis and ISO. ISO is something we're going to be talking about throughout these videos. I won't go into detail about ISO, but we're talking about Oasis here, and we're talking about IEE, another connection, right? So if we jump back over to this little thing right here, we're going to see what? We're going to see that the IEE, that Dao Song received the award from the IEE. So I'll be doing a little bit more research into them as well, and as I come out with that research, I'll share it with you guys. So we see another person that is very interconnected with governments, right? So she warrants a closer look as well, and someone that I'm going to be paying attention to and sharing that information with you guys. Before joining the DACC, Joni was Kentera's Initiative Executive Director, driving programs for business and legal technologies, interoperability for connect entities and individuals in more trustworthy environments. Joni led the Kentera Initiative as the United States' premier trust framework provider, delivering value to multiple industry sectors. Joni helped ensure that Kentera Initiative program is aligned with multiple e-government strategies for economic regions, including Canada, New Zealand. We're going to see Sweden come into the picture shortly, and the United Kingdom. These are all major players in the financial banking industry, right? So Joni previously served as the first ever IEE. So she is probably one of the persons that had to sign off on Dao Song receiving that award. We'll be paying a close attention to her, and I'll be sharing some more information as I do my research. Let's move over to IC3. She is the co-director for IC3, and we're going to look at the partnerships that she has with IC3. As we see Chainlink, Ethereum. We'll be talking about Ethereum, IBM, Intel, JP Morgan, Meta, Protocol Labs, Coin Operated Group. So we see some major players like IBM, Intel, JP Morgan, Meta, Ethereum. These guys don't like any fines, right? Let's just make that statement out there, right? She's also partnered, Oasis Network is also partnered with Confidential Computing Consortium. And if we look at the premier members, ARM coming back into the picture, we have Google again, Intel, Meta again, right? So Meta we've seen multiple times already. Ant Group, which is a Chinese company, Huawei, which is a Chinese company, Red Hat, Microsoft, and Accenture. Accenture we'll be talking about in future videos as well. So she's a very influential person working with Confidential Computing Consortium as well, and IC3. So if we jump over to some of the partnerships that Oasis Network has, Kara is going to be one of them. Own your own health data, improve medical research, right? So we're going to see a trend of medical companies getting partnered up with Oasis Labs now, right? So if we go down to the team, we're going to see ETH Zurich, Oasis Labs. Oh, look, there's Dao Song, right? Oasis Labs, ETH Zurich, right? So if we go to ETH Zurich, you're going to find that that is the Switzerland government. The school focuses primarily on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? So we have the Swedish government getting involved now. Now let's look another partnership. We're going to have Oasis Labs and Nebula Genomics. Take control of your genomic data, right? So I'm going to draw your attention to the CEO. He's a very controversial person. Meet George Church. If you look into George Church, he's going to be connected with MIT again, Harvard, very smart person. He's also worked with DARPA. So we have DARPA in the mix with George Church. George Church received awards and funding from DARPA as well. So let's jump over to the next partnership. Now we have Genetica, right? Vietnamese Prime Minister and government support Genetica and Oasis Labs partnership to enhance precision medicine. So again, we're seeing a trend now towards the more health side of things just from Oasis Labs. So I think that this is going to play a vital role inside Oasis, along with partnerships from Apple and DARPA. So guys, I hope you guys found this video very informative. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and share this with someone that is looking for solid utility programs, utility coins for investing in the future. Now, this is not financial advice. This is purely educational and research purposes only. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.